Well, okay, we are live. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. My subscribers there. I wanted to discuss with you about Isom number one. Now, I know I'm a little late to the game. I figured I would do this a lot sooner than I did, but I don't know, life kind of got in the way and it kind of got away from me. But I plan on doing more on YouTube, more of these discussions in the future. But I wanted to talk to you right now about Isom number one. Now, right off the bat, I am going to say that I believe that after reading this, that Eric July, at least in his youth, have been in, he was in dangerous situations in his life. The reason why I believe that is because the story in Isom feels very real just with supers involved. And now I've talked to individuals and had run-ins with individuals like one of the antagonists in Isom. And the way that the antagonist operated in Isom is very much what I feel like how they operate in real life when someone is a hustler and they have less than honest means of operating. A lot of intimidation, a lot of browbeating, and the role. And one thing that's interesting is that the role that supers, he calls exceps, in this world plays seems very much like what would happen if a small percentage of individuals had powers in our world. And the reason why I believe that is because when DC and Marvel first came out of the rip, they had two roles for anybody with powers. You are either a superhero or you were a super villain. But here you have Isom, who's a rancher. And then you have Alpha Core, maybe some minor spoilers here. So Alpha Core, who were working in law enforcement. And when you think about it, if you're dealing with a society that has actual heroes in it, actual supers, I should say, why wouldn't they take the type of job that they could do what they believe is right and still get paid for it? Isom is a rancher. If he owns the ranch, which I don't know if it was totally clear on whether he owned the ranch or whether he was just an employee of the ranch. But if he owned the ranch, then that means that he, because of his powers, would either have a lot more free time or would work a standard shift and do the work of like a dozen workers and take home all of that labor cost that he would be saving by hiring 11 or so people to do the ranch jobs. And, you have ones that were in law enforcement, the Alpha Corps in law enforcement. One of those Alpha Corps agents could be worth 6 police officers. And then they could pay that guy or girl 5 times the amount and they would still save money. So why would you pass that up? And then you'd have the criminal organizations where they would have a bodyguard that would do the work, again, of 5 to 10 thugs. You pay them 8 times what you pay your thugs, and you still saved money with the same amount of effectiveness. And that's what I see the Ripperverse really exploring. They're not shoehorning supers into a villain or hero role. They're giving them all sorts of roles in society. And that's something that you see only Marvel start to do recently, but because they've already had this established universe of heroes and villains, they already have this established universe of heroes and villains, that there wasn't much room for anyone other than, say, Jessica Jones. But now, because Isom is a brand new universe, you're going to see a different variety of individuals supers, exeps, fulfilling different roles in society, but they're still going to attract problems simply because of who they are. The powerful oftentimes have powerful problems. And that's what I'm seeing with Isom. That's what I'm seeing with this storyline and how it's going. As far as the way that the story goes, or the way that the comic itself, I think that I agree with a lot of the reviewers where the sequencing of the art isn't quite right. There's some confusing panel layouts. I believe that the lines, the dynamic line work where it shows movement is a little off. So sometimes you had a hard time determining how objects were moving. I believe that the foreshortening maybe needs a little bit of work, but I believe wholeheartedly that it was worth what I paid for it. If for any reason, just to have this refreshing universe. Now, I have been told that Valiant might actually be similar to what he has. I haven't read Valiant, but I do understand. In The Watchmen, they consider that to be more of a grounded, realistic superhero book. But the thing about The Watchmen that's different is that there's only one super in The Watchmen. Everybody else is just a high-powered vigilante. So it's not quite the same. And plus, in The Watchmen, they still had that role, either hero or villain. And in Isom, they're dealing with not only people who, use these powers to take advantage of other people, but then use them to help make themselves more competitive in other professional environments. And that's what I'm actually seeing with Isom. Now, in the end, I think that the reason why that minor story was in the end, there is a minor snippet story. And I'm not going to go too much into how or what that story was. What I'm going to say is that I believe that the purpose behind the mini story in the end is to tell the reader that this world has thaumaturgy or magic, meaning that there are people that through a different source cause change to incur in conformity with will by using means not currently understood by Western science. So it was just to say, in this world, magic is real. Now, he said that he's not doing a multiverse. I think that it might benefit from a non-disruptive multiverse, and that means like a non-disruptive multiverse means no parallel worlds, but there might be like a spirit world or a fairy world, or something like Narnia or something like that, but not an actual multiverse where there's a whole bunch of different versions of one character. Now, I don't know if that's what he's going to do or not, but that would be a type of different dimension or something like that wouldn't actually disrupt the story. I am looking forward to Isom 2. I am waiting for it to come out. I understand that they're working on it right now. I'm ready to go with that. Eric, Mr. July, much respect for you being the change you want to see in the world and providing a product or service that people want, that people have been clamoring for. It very well may be that you have shown the world the blueprints to save the medium. Until next time, this is the Iron Fox.